Alright, so guard is basically any time that my legs are preventing him from coming on top of me. So he's just going to come in close, and he's going to sit down onto his heels, and then I close my legs around him. I'm not trying to squeeze him or crush him or anything like that. And the thing about this is that this is an attack position for me. So I'm going to want to like break his posture down. I'm going to want to shove this arm in, get my triangle set up, boom, finish that, get arm bars, omoplatas, all kinds of things. So he doesn't want to necessarily be in this position. So the biggest difficulty of this situation is that I need to actually break this lock that he has on me. And a lot of times newbies are going to do stupid things like take your elbow and drive it in there. But just like what I was trying to do a moment ago, if he does that, that triangle's right there, right? So all he's doing, and some people will actually reach around behind and try to pry apart my ankles. And again, that's gonna be the same thing, right? So you're trying to get one arm in. So the big thing that you want is you want to have your elbows focus on them, either on the outside or both on the inside. Now, for a newbie, trying to pressure into my muscles, it's going to hurt, but you're not going to open my legs that way, ever. I'll get annoyed, and then I'll attack you. And so you don't really want to play that way. So let's go ahead and switch really quick. So he locks up his legs around me. Go ahead and keep them a little bit higher. And so my position here, actually I'm going to let go for 1 second. Surviving in guard, I want to get my hips down as low as possible. I'm on the top of my shoelaces. My posture is my back is rounded with my shoulders right between my knees and my hips. And I'm tucking my tail like a scared dog. So this is scared dog, this is happy deer, right? So it's like I'm trying to penetrate him or something. And so I'm going to keep him neutral for right now. But in a moment, for this particular escape, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my palms on his iliac crest, right? So I don't want to be too far here because then I'm just going to slide off. I don't want to be too far in or too close to his groin. I'm just going to put it right there so that bone is right here on the center of my palm. Now, I'm going to tuck my tail as a scared dog, and then I'm going to lead with my hips. Boom. This is going to widen my hips, and it's going to make it harder for him to hold this. Now I connect my elbows to the inside here. I'm going to take my knee and put it on his tailbone. Now, from here, what people do a lot of times is, see, I shifted my weight over, right? Sometimes when people do this, they'll kind of stay over here, and then they're off balance, and you might take me off that way and sweep me into mount. So from here, I'm going to come up, center, and now I'm going to extend my back leg forward. Notice I'm not too far forward, right? I don't want him to break my posture down right over that iliac crest, and then I pressure in, slide, and I take a combat base. Now, for a combat base, go ahead and step away for a second. What I want for my combat base is I actually want my foot in front of my knee. I'm going to go ahead and have you come up really quick and get into this position. So you got one leg down and you got one leg up, and you're kind of sitting back on that back leg. Okay, so if he has his foot here, and I pull on him, he's got nothing. Go ahead and make sure that your heel is in front of your knee now. A little bit further. There you go. Now if I do the exact same thing and he actually tries to brace against it, now he's got a post, right? So that's what I want, is unless I want to move forward, with this bum knee it's a little bit difficult, but I see I'm connecting my elbows to the insides of my thighs. I want to have my heel in front of my knee until I'm ready to come forward. So go ahead and lay down really quick. Let's go ahead and take this one from the top. So, he's locked up. I'm going to put my hands on his iliac crest. If I don't do this or I'm really too light with it, go ahead and, as I bring my knee to the center, go ahead and lift your hips up, right? Now, when I come back and I try to break him, he's just going to slide up on this knee, right? And it's not going to break his guard. So I need to really think about pinning his knee to the ground. Now I rise up, right? Genitals first, knee to his tailbone. Shift your weight towards your posted leg, and now slide your leg back with your elbows connected to his thighs. Boom, really easy. And then I come up and I try to get into that combat base. Now from here, I need to start to pass his guard. I'm going to take my knee and staple his leg to the ground. A lot of times people, when they're newer, they try to put their weight right here. And if he started to shrimp away, I'm going to fall off of him. I'm also going to cause him pain, which is going to cause him to be more motivated to get away from me. if I don't cause him pain and I just staple that down, he's not going to go anywhere. So I'm going to take this hand and I'm going to underhook his head. I'm going to put my fingers into his armpit here and get this nice little friction grip. I might roll my shoulder forward here, but you can wait on that, right? I really don't want to have my weight projected too far here. While I've got the staple, he's not going to roll me, but I want to be careful as I go, not to, once I start to relieve this, to be too forward on this. So from here, I make sure that I've got a wide base, right? Sometimes I see people getting too close with this. So knee to hip, I pinch here, got a little post here, I bring this knee here, and then I sink my weight back. Like we talked about the other day, I want to keep my pressure on his near side pec. I don't want it on his sternum, and I definitely don't want it on his far side pec, because that's when he's going to pick me up and roll, right? So near side pec, always. All right, one last time on this one. And I refer to this as an outside knee cut because the leg is the one that's further to the outside that I start with. So I'm going to place my hands on his iliac crest. I'm going to tuck my tail like a scared dog. I make contact with my elbows, shift my weight, but I try to keep my center of balance between the two legs. And now I slide back as I push a little bit with my elbows. Boom. I create my combat base. I come over, stapling, not crushing. I underhook his head, and I put a little bend into his body. Now, unlike the last time, I'm going to go ahead and put my hand here. This is to create a block so that he doesn't regard here. Okay, now I'm going to take a big back step, and then I can drive, and then I can establish this side control position. The most important thing here is that I've got knee contact to his hips, because that is going to be the first way that he's going to try to escape. All right. So for this guard pass, so we're going to be in kind of the same setup here, right? And again, I want to be mindful of this outside post, right? Again, when people come up, they have a tendency to bring their hips over to the outside of this knee, and then they're going to get toppled over that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up, and you see I'm not particularly, I don't care too much about whether his hips are floating. Now if I push here, yeah, he's going to muscle that, right? So different people do this different ways, and you find what works for you. Some people shimmy from the top. Some people will try to jackhammer. Some people will squash a bug with their heel, right? I can kind of shimmy my hips. So I create this constant pressure here, and then I shimmy my hips. And you see how hard that was to hold that? So we can adapt to constant pressure, but we cannot adapt to like a jackhammer or a vibration pressure, right? When you start doing like stability training and you do overhead presses and whatnot, you're way weaker, right, than when you're on stable ground. So from here, I'm going to get into this combat base. So maybe what happened is I wanted to go this way, but he popped this hip up. So it's higher, right? So it's going to be, you kind of get into this position. So it's harder for me to get over this one. So I'm going to have to go this way. So what's really important here is that as I'm coming around, that I underhook this arm. If I don't have that, he's going to climb around to my back, right? He's got a really easy open path there. So I come here, I underhook this, I make sure that I'm not projecting my weight too far forward there. If I can, pull up on the tricep, take a scarf hold, or take a switch base position, right? So if you try to turn right now, because I've got this wedge under here, and I've got a wedge under here, it's going to be really hard for him to get that. So the critical thing here, right, between the two knee cuts, is that for this one, I reach for head control first. If I'm in this one, I need to make sure that I have that underhook. But sometimes people are going to take their arm and they just keep it pinched tight to their body because they know that I want that. So he's going to get up on his side so he can start to strip out and stuff. So I'm going to take this leg and I'm just going to underhook it. Now come up to my back. Right? He's up here. I got his leg. It's fine. So that gives me just enough of a moment to establish this side control. So the key thing here, and you know, sometimes you go for that, and maybe for whatever reason, like he's too strong and he like kicks his leg out or something like that. So from here, I might just post, come in, mount, right? Or I guess there are a couple other ways that we can go about this, but the key thing is like if you really can't do this, and he's got this, and I don't have access to this leg or anything, do not complete this pass. You want to change directions, you want to do something else, otherwise you're going to get your back taken. So, I learned this one from Higan Machado, and it does have a name, I just don't remember the name of it. So I'm going to grab his shoulder, and I'm going to pinch it down. This is going to be very important for the same reason for the last one, is that he's going to be able to take my back if I don't have this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hips, and I'm going to swivel them, and now I'm going to try to put my hip bone down on his thigh, and I slide, and I slide, and I slide, and I slide. Once I get here, I can pop that off. Now, when I get to this position, people oftentimes will catch this leg, and they'll put me in a half guard. Go ahead and grab onto that with your legs. Both legs, go and pinch them together. Boom. You're gonna be like that, and then, yeah, it's like you're gonna scissor that. Okay, so from here, because I got a full half guard here, I'm going to change my position, and I can either like try to vibrate this off. Sometimes I can come under and put my fingertips to the top, so that I can slide my knee out. But people tend to be stubborn with this, so he's going to continue to hold on to my leg, even though he doesn't have my full knee. Now, the way that white belts tend to defend this, which actually is more effective than more advanced people, is that more advanced people generally hold on to this. Sometimes less advanced people will just kind of let this go when this goes. So what you can do is you can actually pinch both legs together. Ready for this? Dive. And I take us back. So that's just a berimbolo back take. One of those fancy little things that us no-gi people like to do. So I'm going to pressure down. I'm going to underhook here. I keep low. I'm going to straighten my leg, step out, and I'm going to move my hips, and I'm pushing his hips down to the back. So if he tries to get back under me and try to square up, it's going to be really hard for him because I'm actually really driving that down, and I want to get as far down the lever as I can. Now I can break this, and then oftentimes he's going to capture that leg. So I swivel over, I get that down. Now from here, and for beginners, the way that I actually learned this, which is a little bit easier, if he holds on, right? If he doesn't hold on, it doesn't work. So what I do is I'll post up my leg like I'm in a knee ride, and now I'm going to drive my head underneath my own leg. And there we go. But I find for people who are newer, they tend to let go. So it's really important to kind of get that while you're practicing, but once you actually start doing it in rolls, to actually get that pinch. You don't always have to go with these mid-range guard passes, right? There are low guard passes, there are high guard passes. So let's go ahead and get into a high one. So oftentimes what he's going to be trying to do is he's going to be trying to separate my hands, maybe at my triceps or something along those lines. And I see a lot of people when they're newer, they try to like manage his hands. All you're doing is giving up your own hands. You don't want that. So let him do that. I'm worried about protecting myself here. So if he's like trying to reach up, trying to get my triceps or whatever, I'm going to post this down, and I'm going to take and put my head onto his belly. Now I'm going to lift up my hips, and I pass his wrist to my other hand. So from here, I step to one side, I move so that I'm got a post on either side, pick up the other one. See, his legs kind of popped open right there. This happens to everybody at every level. I let him drop, and so from here, I can go either way. Sometimes people will be really active here, sometimes they can just come and take it back, sometimes the turn and get, whatever, right? He's kind of in my playground here. This little side mount is a really good place to go, like it. But sometimes you can't get that arm. And so I'm going to just continue protecting myself, and I'm going to stand up. So to stand up, I want to make sure that I don't let my hips go past this knee, right? So I stay wide, right? And now I'm going to move my weight over to this side so that I can keep that point outward. Stand up. I'm going to put my weight all on one leg, and I'm not going to push down. I'm going to jackhammer down, right? So now we get into this position. Now it's a really important skill early on to learn how to swivel out of here. So I'm going to take my knee of the direction I want to go. I'm going to put it over the top of his because he's going to try to keep his legs up. not all the way up, but just like keep that structure. I'm gonna pressure down, kick myself in the butt, and get into this position. Now from here, he's probably going to try to lift up on my leg and pull me forward, right? So he's just going to keep that tension there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put pressure right here on his hip. I block that knee so he can't follow. Kick my leg back, glide right past. I don't want to do a big kick over here because I want to be able to get into this knee ride, and I don't want to send him away. All right, so from here, I want to make sure that I don't let my hips go past. Boom. I start to move this way, and then get this leg up. I'm going to come over to one leg. It doesn't matter which leg that I come over, but I want to get my hips fairly close over the top here. I want to keep my knees kind of pointed out because he could drop into a mermaid sweep here. So I'm going to jackhammer down, and then I get into this half hug position here. So from here, I'm going to be close to the ankle with this. We do generally want to have pressure here, but I find that if I try to do this, like it's hard to get my foot over without catching on him. So I move back to at least mid-shin, and I kick my own butt, do this little swivel. Here, put my hand on his hip so they can't follow me, and I just kick my leg back. The further my leg goes back, the lower my head can go, and that means the higher my leg can go, right? So he can't hook me on this. So I go up, glide right past that knee, and come into the knee ride. Boom. So let's go ahead and give you guys a low double guard pass or a low single. The thing about this is that this works for triangle chokes. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go back to one of the breaks that we already did. Come here, just break that open, right? And so now both my elbows are on the inside. Okay, I need to have both on the same side, either both out or both in. And I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna put his leg up here on my shoulder. So this is very close to a triangle position. In fact, he might try to triangle me here. But you see that my elbow is past the midline of his thigh. So if he tried to triangle me, I could get this leg out, and he just goes into a straight head scissors, which is weak as fuck. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put him up on his shoulders. So I drive into him, grab his shoulder. So if he's triangling you, this still works. I just look him off and come into my side control. Can you do this with both legs? Yes, you can. All right. So here, elbow up, break, slide back. Here's one, and I'm going to do the same move on the other. So I'm past his adductors there. I swim under. Now I've got this double. Same deal. Here, grab his shoulder, look it off, and here we are.